Hey everyone, this is John Peterson. Thanks for joining us on the Mindset Podcast. Today I want to introduce you to our sponsor, Tom Sherman with Benchmark Mortgage. This guy's amazing. He's opened up his office here for us to use as a studio. So Tom, tell us about yourself.
Hey, thanks so much, John. Tom Sherman with Benchmark Mortgage. I've been in the mortgage business for 25 years, and I like to refer to myself as a financial partner. So often when you introduce someone as a mortgage lender, it has all kinds of negative connotation, right? So I like to say, introduce us as your financial partner. And our goal is to help your clients be better stewards of their resources. My ultimate goal is to help people reach financial freedom. And we do that through the process of borrowing money and ultimately paying that debt off.
I love it.
So
how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, best way to reach me is my email, tom.sherman@benchmark.us. tom.sherman@benchmark.us.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you again opening up your office to us, and enjoy the show.
Thank you.
So thank you guys actually for joining us on the show today. So today I have Miss Ellie. She works with us at Monument Real Estate. We're under the same brokerage. And we just kind of became friends. And if you wouldn't mind spelling your last name, or how do you pronounce your last name?
It's Darrough.
Oh, that's easy to pronounce.
It's like
Darrough.
arrow with a D.
But how do you spell it?
Darrough.
That's the tricky.
There is silent letters. There's Darrough.
That's why I had you spell it. Well, thank you. Appreciate you being a guest today. And the whole idea of the podcast is to help other agents. And it's kind of cool because even though my niche and my forte is real estate, my other forte is speaking on mindset and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's what the podcast is really going to be. We're still kicking around names, but I'm thinking of the Mindset Podcast. You can speak to your thoughts, right? Because most people don't know that. Or like your video the other day, the mental bouncer. Like people don't even know that's an option, right?
I love that.
And I appreciate you doing that video. That was so cool. But again, it's just so many new agents are afraid, right? Just like that one I was having lunch with the other day, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know," and I'm like, "Just do it." So let's get started and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, that always gets me. Well, I'm a recently retired teacher. Last year, I'm still teaching, and just this summer, I decided I'm not going back to teach. So I became a real estate agent because most teachers, when they stop doing that, they're agents.
How funny! I didn't know that.
You did not know that?
No. So that's like a transition?
It really is. Like, no joke. I want to look up the statistics on how many teachers
become agents.
Yes.
So I need to go start recruiting at the schools, is basically.
Probably.
I've been speaking in the Frisco public schools, and I didn't even know that. I could have been recruiting the whole time.
I saw you were at the middle school speaking to the kids, and my first thought was, I wonder how many teachers are going to reach out to you.
That is crazy. I would have never known that. Okay, so then had you always wanted to do real estate, or was it just...
when I thought about real estate and I signed up for the real estate class, it was not to do that solely. Mm-hmm. It was more like my husband and I wanted to invest in properties, and it's like one of us needs to be an agent so that we can find the properties and not have to pay a commission for each time. So I was like, I'll do it, because I wasn't sure how long I will be. I just knew at that point, and this was like 2 years ago, I knew I wasn't going to finish to 30 years of teaching.
Okay.
It was already kind of feeling burned out, like, is this what I'm going to do for another 15 years? Like, so I'll do it. And so I actually signed up and did like one class or one chapter the summer before last. And whenever the year ended in May, I came home, I literally looked at my husband, I'm like, I'm not going back. You cannot make me. I'm doing the real estate
Really? Like that? Straight up?
Straight up. So started June 1st probably, and just did 180 hours all summer. September, like mid-September, took the test, passed, joined another agency that turned out to be not the best. Was there for 2 months, and then I found Monument, met you, and it's just been great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, and that's what I think is cool about like Monument, even though I'm not officially your coach or your mentor or whatever. It's like you heard me speak, we kind of gravitated to each other, right? We clicked, and then it's just, again, I see, honestly, when I'm not just telling you this, right? And like even those that are watching, like I truly see you as a diamond in the rough, because you're taking action, like your newsletter, like tell the people a little bit of what you're doing. Like you're doing good stuff, man. For a new agent, you're doing really good stuff. So tell us a little bit of what you're doing.
while everyone says what you need to do to get clients is to work your sphere and your neighborhood and become the neighborhood expert, because they see you and you live in the neighborhood, and those will be your number one source
referral source. Yes,
referral
absolutely.
source. And so I was trying to think of a way to present myself to these neighbors. I'm brand new to this community. I've only lived there for a year. And I'm like, well, how can I do this? And at the time, I haven't even lived there for a full year yet. It was like 8 months. I'm like, well, how can I present myself to these neighbors and say, hey, I'm your neighbor, but also your real estate agent, call me, without feeling like I'm pushy or like advertising.
Right.
So I was just bouncing out ideas and thinking of things. And Maggie Gilliam and we sat down, and she's a great marketing guru. And I was telling her, like, I want to do this. I'm like, I might like maybe like a newsletter or something. And she's like, oh my God, I love that idea. Like, my community doesn't have that. Like, why don't we have that?
Right.
And so that's just kind of how it started, because I was trying to think of a way to so my move there, because I was in school 90% of the time, and then chauffeuring kids around soccer,
How many kids do you have?
I have 3.
Oh yeah, that's a full-time job in itself.
Sure is. And so I was never really able to get to know my community. And so I wanted to, I started asking questions like, hey, well, who's your doctor? Who's your dentist? What do what pediatrician do you guys go to? What do you like to do on the weekends with kids? Because now that I stopped teaching, I felt like I wanted to know my surroundings.
That's interesting.
Get to know my community. And so I was asking all these. I also noticed that a bunch of people were asking the same questions like a couple weeks later. And I'm like, this would be perfect way to get myself out there, is to create a newsletter. I just put 2 and 2 together, and I'm like, well, what if I share my findings of the amazing neighborhood I live in, and kind of become a resource of knowledge, and not just about real estate, but there's a festival coming up next week, and just a bunch of little things that are happening in our neighborhood.
So not just real estate stuff, really,
not
just
at all.
Like if you were helping your friends.
Right.
Yeah.
It's literally just getting neighbors, community together. So that's what I wanted to do really with this newsletter, is to unite us again and give them something fun and interesting to read and look forward to each month, and not be another agent sending a postcard or call me, buying your house, call me. And there is a little blurb of just stuff that I think is most important as an agent that my neighbors want to know, is like, how many homes have sold this month? How many
They
on the
do
market?
want to know that.
Yeah, they do. Like, they want, even if they're not wanting to sell their house,
they're
they
just
want to know
curious.
how many homes sold in the neighborhood.
Okay.
How many days were in the market? How much was the median average price? Like, what was the highest days in the market, like not the highest days, but like what the highest,
most days on the market
and
was,
just little stuff like that. And there's a little
interesting.
QR code under, scan me for a free estimate of your home value. Like, and it's just, and I've had several people do that, and because they're all curious, they're like, what is my house worth right now? So
that is so cool.
Anyway,
speaking of curious, because I know they're going to ask me in some messages, tell us a little bit about, because the other agents and people are going to want to know about your community. So if you can mention the community, maybe the price range, the age, a little bit of the, I guess, stats, because they're going to want to know that about your neighborhood.
Oh, okay. So it's Westridge community. I really don't know when it was created. It's pretty old, but there's a bunch of newer parts that have added on. I do know there's like 8,000 homes, roughly 8,000 homes in my neighborhood. My immediate neighborhood, Heights of Westridge, there is 1,700 homes.
And is that what you're
maybe.
targeting, the 1,700?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that's the ones that I'm passing out my newsletters to, like hand passing them out. I'm getting some high school helpers to like walk the doors.
That's
and
smart.
Put them on the doorsteps. But I do, like, I'm creating a What's Up Westridge Facebook page, and that is going to be the whole Westridge community.
Now, is that the one that you were telling me that your friends in the community actually gave you the idea?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
cool.
cool.
One of the readers, one of the homeowners in Westridge, like, well, why don't you create a page?
That's
I'm
so
like,
cool.
That sounds great, but how do I do that?
Yeah, exactly.
You guys don't know I'm a newbie at this. And then before this, I honestly never utilized, before I became an agent, Facebook to me was a way to post up pictures of my family of events that happen in my life to share with my family out of town.
Okay.
And also, like, you know, when it reminds you like a year later, this is what happened. I like that, like the shared memory.
Of course.
That's all I used it for.
Right.
So I really don't, I'm not good at marketing. Like, I don't remember, I should video myself doing this, or I should post this. Like, it's always an afterthought after I already left. Like, I went through $1 million home with my girlfriend who's looking to buy, and it was gorgeous. After I drove over, I'm like, why didn't I take pictures and video and put this online? Let people see what I'm doing. So I'm not good at this. So all these people recommending things, I'm like, slow down.
Right. So then, okay, so with that said, right, because there are so many choices for marketing, branding.
Right.
How are you deciding which ones to pick for you that are going to work for you?
I'm thinking of things that I don't see. Like, I'm
thinking outside the box.
Exactly.
Okay,
like, I don't want to be just like the other agents, all the other things I'm getting in the mail. I want
Okay, so let's talk about that, because again, mainly agents are going to be watching this, right? So like, what kind of stuff are you getting that everyone else is doing?
Door hangs, which are great, but me, I put them in the trash. Like, I don't. It's just goes to the trash, because if I'm not looking to buy or sell a home, I don't need it. Right. And just, you know, the little cards, little postcards
that they mail,
trash.
Okay.
Even the magazines, I just look at like the market updates. Everything else is the trash. Okay. Or I can actually keep the magazines to take it to my kids' school for the teachers. But so yeah, all those things, I don't see value in it unless you're actively thinking and looking, and that's very few amount. Right. So my newsletter, they want to keep it because there are all these events, like Ice Cream Social next week is on my newsletter.
What day and time? So people, well, you know what? I don't know if we'll have this edited by now, but go ahead. Okay. We'll see what day and time.
March 9th from 4 to 6, Ashwood Park, right next to Mooneyham Elementary School. There's an ice cream event I'm hosting myself, and I actually utilize one of the small businesses in my community. He owns Crave ice cream truck, and so I talked to him, and him and we agreed that I'll fund this, and he'll be out there from 4 to 6.
That's awesome.
I invited the whole community, come meet me. I actually had a negative feedback on Facebook about my newsletter because I posted it on Thursday, and they argued about, hey, this was Sunday when they brought it up. So from Thursday to Sunday, like, how come this person who does the Western newsletter able to advertise her business not on Saturday, like Small Business Saturday day? Like, how come she can post it on a Thursday? And so I was like, you know what? That's a great question. Like, this is not advertising myself. It's about your community. There's small businesses that I highlight each month. There's, Meet the Smiths. There's a new family that lives in your community. Get to know them. There's all these events that I'm actually hosting. Right. And letting you know about that you can go to. And there's a very small blurb about the market. And yes, it's about me. So don't you want to know who's creating this and who are they? Yes. So no, this is not small, like a small business.
But you know what's funny about haters though, is like, you've lived in your community for a year. Has anyone ever done what you're doing? Nope. Right? But yet I call them keyboard warriors, right? Because the stuff they'll say and send in a message or a text or an email to complain to the HOA or whoever, right? It just never seems to amaze me how they're doing nothing. Right. You're helping the community, but yet you're just gonna.
And the couple of things that she had an issue with, I went ahead and addressed it very politely. I actually had several comments outside of that saying that you handle that with grace. It shows your maturity, and she was looking for a fight, and you didn't give it to her.
That's exactly right. Yeah, because they're miserable. They're whatever. And so real quick, hang on. Let me just stop, because again, it's probably going to be a couple weeks before we edit this. So I'm going to go on Instagram. So social media is what we do as agents. So you got 15 seconds to kind of tell about your ice cream. Is it an ice cream social for next week? So that way we can post it. So let me just get the camera going, and then we'll turn it around live on our podcast. So I'm just going to let you say it, right? Because you've only got 15 seconds.
Okay. Hi, everyone. This is Ellie Darrough. I am hosting an ice cream social at Ashwood Park right next to Mooneyham Elementary School in the Heights of Westridge next week, March 9th, 4 to 6. Hope to see you there.
Cool. So that way we'll record it. I'll hang on to it. Because, I was thinking about that. I was like, it's going to be a little bit before we get this out. Your social would have already happened.
Yeah.
But no, that's what, man, the haters, it's just comical to me. Right?
And she decided to do it incognito. Yeah, like she chose
anonymous.
to be anonymous
Of
when
course.
she posted this. So my neighbor next door said that she probably was upset that maybe it wasn't her idea, or maybe I didn't choose her as a small business for that week. I don't know. It just seemed very personal.
Well, here's the crazy thing is like it could have been another agent. It could have. Like, you don't waste your time or energy.
Right. So,
right. Like just do
but
you.
she did a great. I mean, it was great because there were so many people afterwards that asked me, "So how do I get this newsletter?" So I was like, "Thank you, anonymous person."
See, that's what I'm talking about. What do they say? Good news or bad news is news. So it's like very cool. So then you started getting some traction on the post.
Yep. And that's where another
awesome.
person recommended, like, you should do the Westridge page, like,
Right.
what's up, Westridge, and that way I can post anytime and remind them, hey, don't forget tomorrow Ice Cream Social. I'm like, oh my god, that's a genius, but how do I do that? So,
that is so cool. And so when did you start doing this? Like, I know you're a newer agent, so when did you start doing the newsletter and all that?
within a month of starting Monument,
And you started Monument when?
December.
Wow.
So the first one that went out in January, and the
I
second
saw
one
that
went out,
one.
Yep.
That's the one where I went to your Taco Tuesday.
Right.
One of your events. And
Yeah.
they had that, brochure looked really, really nice. And so, okay, so you did the first one, you took action, and then you told me, because as we were sitting there eating, I remember you just going like, oh, I forgot to do this, I should have done that, or what. So what did you learn off the first one that you added to the second one?
More things that I'm hosting that I'm able
Okay.
to show up at, and they can come meet me.
Nice.
I'm volunteering at the festival that I'm advertising as well, and I'm doing the Ice Cream Social, and next month I'm actually going to do a Yard of the Month.
Very cool.
And I'm going to invite the community to vote on their neighbors. So it's not me driving around finding homes. It's more like, if you think your neighbor should win this, like, email me. And so it's just another way for me to get.
You know what I'm thinking right now? Yes, because as you're saying, Jim Brandt in our office. Okay, so she's coming tomorrow night to the lobster truck or whatever thing that we're doing up in Prosper. Remind me, because you're going, right? Remind me to ask her in front of you. She did something cool with the yards in her neighborhood that she was doing. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was a great idea. And she said other people started copying her and actually charging for it.
Wow.
So there's something but she said it was really impactful. So remind me tomorrow.
That'd be great.
Because that's what I'm saying, man. You're getting plugged in. So like some people would look at that newsletter and go, I screwed up. This, that, it was a failure. The first one. It's like, no, you learn from it, right?
Right.
So like you can look at it like, oh, it was a failure. Or to me, failure is just like learning. Like you learn what
Right.
not to do, or you get better, right? Like sharpening your skills. So let me ask you this, because again, the mindset is all about our thoughts and mindset and all of that. Where was your head at when, like, what kind of thoughts were you having when you were leaving teaching? Let's back up. When you were leaving, yeah, see that face says it all. When you were leaving teaching and like, you know what? I just think I want to be an agent. Oh. Like, yeah, exactly. So tell me about that mentally, like what was going on?
I literally had to force myself to think the bouncer. He was present the whole time. Like, I had to force myself to think only positive thoughts.
Okay.
I didn't allow failures to come in. It was more like, this is the good thing. This is what's best for my future. This could be I'm going to be more happier. I'm present in my kids' school life. Like, I was able to go volunteer for the PTA book fair. Which you just did the
other day. I saw you post that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would never have been able to do that because I would have been in my own school doing my own, with my kids. So I just told myself, this is what's best for me and my family. So the mindset was more like, failure is not an option.
Right.
Get it together. Do whatever it takes. And there were a lot of, it is one of the bravest, scariest thing I've ever did, really, honestly, because because you're married, you have kids. I mean, it's just that. It's all I know.
Right.
Like, I went to college to be a teacher.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and that's your income. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
and
that.
It was it's actually my income. I know. Sorry, Brandon, I'm sharing this right now. But he had a life change just like this 2 years before, so he's still working his way up in the company with my dad's company, but he's still low.
Right.
And so my income was the breadwinner.
Right.
And so me coming home and saying, hey, babe, guess what? this is not it. Like, I'm
How
out.
did that conversation go?
It did not go
Yeah,
well.
I wouldn't think so.
His mindset, there was no bouncer present.
No, of course,
He was more
yeah.
like, and he's always trying to look at things like the what ifs and the
Yes.
to plan,
Worst
prepare.
case scenario. Yeah, of course.
So,
I get it.
But we just really like kept talking about it. I'm like, you know me, I am not a quitter. Like, just because it's going to be tough, which it will be tough for you as well, like family, like all of us, not just for me, but once I put my mind to something, it's going to happen.
It's gonna happen.
And it's, like there's no stopping.
Right.
And like, plus the real estate, once I have my license, if this doesn't work, like I do have an out, like I have other things I can do with this license.
Right.
So anyway, so I that was really what it was. It's more like a bulldog attitude, just grab a hold of this thought and just don't let go.
So let's talk about the thoughts, because again, right, staying positive, this is what it's going to be. Failure is not an option. What I want to do again on this show is show more the other side. So tell me the thoughts that were coming to you that the bouncer had to kick out.
Oh, wow.
And for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, I'll give the example that I have installed in my mind a bouncer, all right? I have a mental bouncer. It's just like when you go to the club, if you're not on the list, you're not going to get in, right? And so the example that I give is I figured out what I want for my life, and most people have not, so I highly encourage you to do that, is figure out what you want to do. And then when the thoughts come to you, if they're in alignment with what you want or what your goals are, then the bouncer lets them into your brain, right? If not, then the bouncer kicks them out. So let's talk about that. What were some of the crazy thoughts that you were getting, the negative, the whatever, that the bouncer had to kick out? Like, what kind of thoughts were you having?
Well, the biggest one is, once I depleted our savings, are we going to lose our home? Like,
that's huge, man.
It is still huge.
Well,
like, it's still a work in progress. Yeah, like, what are we going to do? And obviously I had steps after that. If
of course.
If it comes to here, like, we have a plan, but it will not, like, it's just not in this, that was one of the thoughts that came.
Lose the
and
house,
that I had to go, not invited in.
Right.
Another one was like, what if I fail? What if this doesn't take off, like, in the time frame that I have? What then?
Right.
Another one's like, what am I going to do with my kids in the summer and Thanksgiving? And because I'm used to having those times off.
Right.
How many sporting events am I going to miss? Because when people want to go see homes are like after work, and my kids are home after work.
Right.
And how is that going to work? And it were a lot of pieces, and like, we had to sit there and decide, what are we going to do when this happens? Because we became a family that I was always there. Like, when they have off, so did I. And so,
because of school, of course. I didn't think about that.
Right. So
wow. So that all changed.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't think about that.
Right. There were a lot of things. And then another thought is, what if I'm not good at this? Everyone says teachers are the best real estate agents, which you did not know.
No, I did not. I'm glad. See, I got educated
everyone
today.
Everyone says teachers are the best real estate agent because we know how to work with people, and we know how to like, diffuse situations, and we are positive, uplifting, like, caring.
Right.
We are we were like not social workers, but we are.
You're like everything. You're like a counselor. You're a problem solver, which is everything you need for real estate. So that makes perfect sense.
Right. So, and we're able to mold ourselves easy, and we work really well in like high stress.
My mind is blown right now as you're telling me all this. Like, that's exactly right. Those are all the characteristics of a successful agent.
Yeah. Another thought was like, what if nobody likes me? And
of course.
Another one, like, what if nobody sees me? Like I said, I went to school to be a teacher. That I was a teacher. That I'm a mom. Then a wife and a mom. That's my identity.
Right.
Like, what if no one ever sees me anything else but a teacher? And so it's just, there were thoughts, but like I said, they were very fleeting. And my husband has been great at,
that's good.
Yes, to motivate me, and he's like, you just do it. Like, he doesn't,
that's good.
Like, let me weep on his shoulder type of thing. He's like, get it together.
Right.
Get out the door. Just go get it.
Just go.
Yeah.
And
so
he's helping take care of stuff at the home while you're out doing what you need to do.
Oh my goodness. Like,
it's a great partnership.
He has taken over just the kids and the after school. and hauling them to places, and obviously have amazing neighbors. Like, oh my goodness, it's like a village.
Wow,
so my
that's
kids
so
are
good.
always at someone's house, and it really helps because at this moment I feel like I am missing a lot of their life. And I am, but we've talked about this. This is only a short period of time before,
it's temporary.
like I said, like not have to chase. It's more like it comes to me and I can make my schedule.
Of course.
So we're willing as a family, and then my kids know. And they ask me every day, did you sell a house today?
Oh, that's so cute. So you got more encouragement.
Yeah.
You got more pressure. But you know how important that is to have someone that has your back like that at home. As you know, I coach and train other agents, and there's some of them that are in bad, right, marriages or relationships, and their spouse, whether it's male or female, is actually almost like against them, almost like trying to sabotage them, like not helping them, and just that I can't even comprehend that. Right? So like to have what you have at home is huge. And honestly, that's the way it should be, right? Like he's got your back.
Right.
Right? You guys have each other's back. And it's just, again, having that plan, saying this is what we're going to do. We know it's not going to be easy, but the reward is going to be fascinating, right? Especially when you guys want to get into investing. I also do investing stuff. To me, that's where the generational wealth is, right? Because we can make good money as agents. But to me, the generational wealth is the investments, right? Like that's where you leave a legacy. That's where you leave stuff to your kids, properties, land that are producing money or income or rentals, right? I have friends that have started off with single family houses. Then they started doing like quadruplex, duplexes. Then they got into small apartments, like maybe an 8-door, right? 8 unit. And just, it's crazy. It's truly like Monopoly.
That's exactly why we wanted to do the investing, is because my husband and I, we, instead of doing like a life saving, which we have for our kids, we felt really strongly pushed to buy 3 homes, maybe 1 a year, and then start, with the rental property. And then when my kids graduate from college, we're going to give them 1 home each.
That's
and
so cool.
Yeah, like that way they
So
already
cool.
like.
Do you think
set.
how awesome that would be to have a house? Like think about it.
And they can turn around and sell it.
They can do whatever
and
they
get,
want.
The equity of it.
But think of
or
having
they
no
can
payment.
continue-
Think of
right.
you and your family right now. Like not having your house payment, how much extra cash you would have.
Right.
Like that would be insane.
So
That'd
that
be a
was the
game
whole
changer.
part. That was why we wanted to start real estate to invest. So I just jumped on board 100%. And
That's awesome.
Took it a little different direction, and we'll get to investing. It's coming.
That's
So-
awesome. And so tell me a little bit about, you said Benchmark Mortgage. That's where we want to thank Benchmark Mortgage. That's actually who we're with. We're in their conference room recording today. So they've offered their place for recording and doing all our podcasts. So thank you, Tom Sherman. If you need a loan or honestly just look at it more as a financial partner. And so we'll, as I'm talking right now, we'll have someone just put a phone number on the screen right now just so you can get in contact with them. But I mean, he's the top in the United States, like in the nation, right? And so he got you connected with Sue, and how's Sue going to help you concerning your newsletter?
Well, she and I came up with the yard of the month.
Oh, nice.
Love that. I think it was actually her idea.
Okay.
And I just went, that's amazing. I want it because on my neighbor, we don't have that. And spring is coming and everyone's thinking about their yard. And I took it a little bit further. I was like, what if the yard of the month, like, oh, have my name, like, congratulations, you were voted for yard of the month, whatever. And what if I like find a local Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever and do a gift card. So I was going to talk to Tom about like maybe doing like double, like matching what I put in there.
Of course.
And so it's just not just the neighbors recognizing you, but also like, here's some extra money to do something addition to your yard.
Right.
So the spring is coming. This is the time to think about that and get it all fixed. And it will give the neighbors something to, again, look forward to.
Of course, as a
Add it to
homeowner,
my
that's
newsletter.
what they, as a
everyone's going to
homeowner,
want to
exactly.
know who won. And
Well,
then they're
yeah,
going to want to drive by their house and be like, what are they doing that I need to do?
Of course.
So
That's
I
so
think that would
smart.
be a really fun way to bring the neighbors together as well. And to get to know your neighbors. Maybe I'll use one of those as my next get to know your neighbor.
Absolutely.
They won the yard of the month. Like,
Absolutely.
so yeah, she and I kind of bounced out like different ideas that I'm already doing and what we can like do on top of that to make it better.
Okay.
And the yard of the month was one great idea. And then I mentioned to her, she's like, what can I do to help you? I'm like, well, they were suggested to do a What's Up Westridge, which is the title of my newsletter, Facebook page. And I really liked that idea, but I really have no idea how to even create a Facebook page for the neighbors. And she's like, well, I can do that. She's
That's
like, I can
cool.
get that, do it today and have it free tomorrow.
Sue told you that?
Like, yeah, she already
That's
has
awesome.
it.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. So apparently we have to be friends first. to ship out right now. But yeah, she's doing that and going to team up with the Yard of the Month. And then we talked about farming, not really farming, more like thinking of in your different circles of life, like as you know, my neighbors, my school teacher, my soccer group, you know, and then think about like 10 people in each group that I can reach out
go down
and
deep,
not really to see if they want to sell or buy their house, more like ask them like, who do you know that might need, you know,
right.
Reminder, I'm a real estate agent. I would love to help, you know, someone that needs my service. Who do you know that you can recommend me to?
Which is the best way to get a referral.
Yeah,
it's the best.
And I told her that kind of scared me because one of the things I don't like doing is calling people and
no one does
asking, like being pushy. That's what I don't want to do. And so, but I really need to, because like I said, a lot of people know me as a teacher. It's all I've ever did.
Right.
Soccer player, teacher, mom, wife, that's all.
But like on the phone, like if that's what you're concerned about like not being pushy, I know it sounds silly, but like just don't be. Right? So just kind of act like if you were the person receiving the call, how would you want them to talk to you?
Right.
And that's really it, because at the end of the day, it's building relationships. And I just love that your people are in your community are already like reaching out to you, telling you, giving you ideas, like wanting stats on the community, mentioning the Facebook page that you should. I mean, dude, that's so cool. Like, and you just started a month ago.
Right. And they're asking, how do I get this? I'm not on the list. How do I get on the list? I'm
right.
like, there's no list, but you will be on it.
You will
get it.
We'll have one dropped off. Exactly. Stat. Boys, get over there. Go drop one off.
Another thing I did was just meeting people and talking. Like, I actually was driving to the end of my street. I parked and I was sending a quick text message to a client I was meeting for a showing, and I was letting them out on the way out the ETA, and I see a person walking their dog and just stop right there at the corner. And I was like, I waved at them and told them that you can cross, you know, in front of me. I'm not going to go anywhere. And she waved back, and it was kind of like awkward. I wasn't sure. She was asking me like roll my window down or like hi or no thank you. I was like, roll the window down. Like, hi, I'm just letting you know I'm parked for a second. Like, you can cross. And that conversation led to 30 minutes of literally stopped and just talking.
Really?
And she was just with 2 dogs. And I ended up finding out a month later when I was starting the newsletter, and I was talking to another neighbor friend that I met through my kids' school and friendship. I was like, oh my God, I wish there was a way I can get a hold of the HOA board. Like I want to be able to send this newsletter out to everyone in the community, but I just don't have that power to. And all the you know, you can go to title company and they can give you like the emails and whatnot of the neighbors, but it kept bouncing back. And then people keep asking, how do I get this newsletter? Like, I want to get it, put me on the list.
Right.
And like, if the HOA sends it out, I know everyone will get it.
Very
and she's
true.
like, well, actually, I'm really good friends with the HOA board. And you want me to like, she will quick texted them and she sent me her number and I call it was that lady I talked to
for 30
a
minutes
month before for 30 minutes. And she's like, oh my God, you that lady in the car. I'm like, are you the lady with the dogs?
You just never know. You just never know.
Never. And so we sat, and I really think that's why she was so open to sending it out. Like, I don't know what other HOA
does that.
Sends out, you know, something like this that for like it's really advertising in a way.
Of course.
For realtor, because there's a bunch of real estate agents. I'm sure they reached out for something, but I guess with the connection that I made with her before, asking for help later, it really helped. And we just met, set coffee. And we had a great conversation for an hour. And then she just goes, hey, so how would you like to be on the board of HOA? I'm like, what do you mean, ma'am? She's like, I think you would be a great fit. You're very uplifting, positive. And we need someone that, you know, looks for solutions, not be negative. And, you know, because most of the time people reach the HOA for not nice reasons.
Yeah,
or like complaints.
Exactly.
And we need someone that knows how to handle complaints in the way, like positive, productive way, instead of like
your personality.
And she's like, I think you would be great at it. Like, what do you think? I'm like, phew. And it literally the next day, like 2 days later, she's like, well, come to the board meeting, see what's
about. That's the day after our talk, or your Taco Tuesday that I showed up. I didn't realize that you were headed there next. I saw your post online.
I didn't think I was going to be able to make it. And then we just finished our conversation and did our and it was only 3 minutes down the road. And I'm like, well, there's no really excuse. So I went and they all voted me in. I'm like, what did I just do? What did I get myself into?
See, that is amazing. But it's just, again, right, just building relationships. So I have to ask, you were with another brokerage before for a couple months. You're at Monument now. What's the biggest difference that you see between Monument and the other broker that you were with? And I don't care if you mention them. I mean, we could talk about anything on this, but it's just, what is the biggest difference that you see between the two brokerages?
The other brokerage was more like a huge company that I was just a tiny number.
Okay.
And for the 2 months I was with them, I never met a single soul. Like, it was all through Zoom. And this was after we were all like going back to like eating in the restaurant. Yeah, there was no reason to be on Zoom and Zoom only. And every day they had a 9 a.m. log on for an hour training session for the new people coming in, our new recruits. And every day there was a different coach coming on, and they would, it's just so dysfunctional. It was like every day I had a different idea from a different person that they do things differently, the way they did it from different company that they came. And so they were like, oh, this is the title company I use, and and this is, oh no, don't do that, you should do this. Next day, the opposite of what she said. Somebody else recommended something completely different. I'm like, oh, I'm taking notes, and I'm like, okay, I'll get in contact with. Next day, don't know. That's horrible.
As a new agent, that is horrible, because it's like you already don't know what you're doing,
right?
And then it's changing every other day.
And there's so many recommendations. I felt like I didn't know where to go, what to do, and then the one thing they kept saying with no training is like, you're the expert. Get out there and do it. You're the expert. Go.
Okay,
You're the expert. Yeah. And I remember, like, after hearing that for like the second month, like before I decided, I'm like, I'm done. And I don't speak up a lot, and then when I do, it's because I've had enough.
You've had enough. Yeah, you've reached
so
your limit.
I unmuted myself in the middle of, you're the expert. I'm like, what am I an expert of? Yeah. I'm an expert of passing the test. Yay me. But I don't know anything about real estate. Don't tell me to go out there and do it.
Yeah.
You're not helping me to get there. I'm doing everything on the side.
Right.
On my own, getting my own training and finding like some free classes I can take, like steward title, like they have,
little classes that you can take to learn. Yeah.
And to learn. I'm doing that. But what are you doing to help me? Like, every day I get a different trainer telling me completely different things, different way. I'm more confused now than I was before I started. Like, so I don't know what to do, where to go.
At Monument, you went through SEALs training, right?
I did.
So for those of you that don't know, our SEALs training is basically for all new agents. It's really like a boot camp. That's why they call it SEALs, kind of like the Navy SEALs. And so how was that compared to what your experience was, night and day?
Yes. Yeah. Like, within the first week, I remember at the end of the week, all of us talking about like how we felt like we're already a family.
Yeah.
Like we are brothers and sisters, and that we've learned more in that 1 week than we have like it's just amazing how much information you get. Great information from great trainers, and they all align.
And that was in December?
The same,
And then you guys all still connect, right? As far as the people that were in class.
Yes, like today we got a text from Michael. Yeah. And congratulations, Michael. He got his first executed contract.
Oh, right on. Congratulations, man.
We were all like, oh my God, I'm so happy. And this was like, this poor guy, like he has this client. They're well qualified. They were putting 35, 40 above asking price. Wow. And they were just not winning anything.
Wow, that's hard right now.
I know. I'm like, finally. So anyway, and then the other day, yesterday, somebody goes, okay, I'm doing my first condo contract. Please help me. And that's it.
Yeah.
Text. Call me or hear this or, we are on it. Like we are probably never going to call actual trainer because we are there for each other. But back to the training that I got for SEAL, like it is night and day from JPAR because JPAR.
And there it is. I like your face. That was awesome. That's all right. It is what it is, man. That's your story.
It is.
We're not knocking them. That's your experience.
And I would not be as appreciative of Monument if I didn't go through that.
Well, see, that's what's hard for me as a recruiter. When I get new agents straight from taking the test.
They don't know.
Because honestly, and I just tell them, no, they don't. And I tell them they get upset, but I'm like, you guys are spoiled.
Oh.
Like, hear this from like a dad. you are spoiled. You get VIP leads from Zillow, Realtor.com, and they set the appointment for you. Like, are you kidding me right now? And it doesn't cost you anything.
I don't even care about the leads. It's the knowledge. I feel like an expert now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, like I was not an expert. I didn't know anything. Like,
that's really
cool. I
cool.
wouldn't have been able to do a contract without YouTube.
Yeah.
With them.
Exactly.
And I was actually scared to accidentally get a client.
Oh, no, I understand.
With them, because I'm like, I won't know what to say, what to do, how to start. I don't want, and I'm a perfectionist.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go out there and mumble and jumble and,
and get sued, because everything in class that they teach you is don't get sued, don't get sued, don't get sued.
No, and I'm not good at mumbling things through. Like, and I'm like, I either know it or I don't know it. And there have been a lot of, I don't know that. Like, and I didn't like that. That's not who I am.
Well, because you don't feel confident, so you don't feel like you can go present and be the expert, right?
So I was terrified of someone I know, like, hey, Ellie, can you help me? I'm like, no, I can't. I mean, yes, of course, but what do I do? And so, so with Monument, it was so organized. And there was like a plan of action for each day. We knew exactly what's going to happen each day. There was a calendar, and the people that they brought in are just top notch, like phenomenal.
Well, that's how we met. I was speaking at one of the trainings, the Mindset.
One of my favorite classes.
Aww.
It was everything you said, and I was just like, yes, like, like the power on, whatever. Anyway, so, but yeah, I mean, it was just, they give you every tool that you need, the people, the resources, the family atmosphere, the environment.
Right.
And I don't know how anyone can come out of there the full month of training like that close every day.
Agree.
And not, form a bond.
I agree. Well, and that's why, because Dina chased me for 5 months before I came to this company. And after just doing my own research, talking to agents that were working there, right, getting the real deal how it was, in my mind, I was like, if I'm interviewing an agent, really the question should be at the end of our presentation, shouldn't be like, do you want to join Monument? Like, it really should be, why are you not? Like, I just laid it all out. Like, if you don't see it, like, that's cool, right? But we've only got about 2 minutes left, so I got a couple questions for you. So you said you heard me speak before. Give us maybe 1 or 2 nuggets that you got out of attending my class on Mindset.
Oh, it's hello, the bouncer. The first thing that comes in mind.
The mental bouncer.
If it doesn't align with what you want to accomplish in life, or who you want to be as a person, you have the choice not to let him in. Like, you get that bouncer and be like, you're responsible. If it doesn't allow, it just, to me, give him the hard job.
Right.
In a way,
exactly.
Like, and I literally visualize this.
Yes.
In my mind, and it's just so powerful. It's so helpful. I'm like, you got this, dude.
I love that.
Like, moving on.
And you said when I was showing the slideshows, having the visual of that bouncer like really helped you, because I'm very visual as well. So that's why I put it in there.
Right.
That's cool.
And obviously, every single time you always mention things like, this is your job. You need to decide like how you're going to handle it. How are you going to present yourself? And always have to be in a way that you want to be viewed, and so stuff like that. Like, I can't remember exactly how you word it, but the things that you say, I always walk away thinking like, that's exactly what I want people to see me as, to view me as, confident, strong, a leader, something I can bring to the table. Like, there's always something you can bring to the table.
Right.
And just to have that knowledge and confidence, and not letting other people bring you down with their words or actions, or like, it's just I don't know, like, I can't remember 100% of the words you say, but you get
always, I was going to say, you get the point. It's like you're in control and no one's going to trip you up. One of the things I love to say. Another thing also
is that making a plan each day. Though that was awesome. Like, to time
blocking, calendar,
Yes, that's, I need that every day.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to go, I'll do that in a little bit, and then you don't. But if it's on the calendar, you got it.
Yeah.
You have to write it down, even the simplest things.
It makes a huge difference
Coffee.
just having the plant. Yeah, it's true. Well, because the example I give is like if you and I, right, we run into each other like, oh my God, how you been? We talk for 10 minutes. And then it's like, we need to grab coffee sometime. Yeah. And we walk off. It's never going to happen.
Never going to happen.
Right? But if I'm like, yeah, let me get my calendar and like you make it happen and it's
Right.
on there,
Right.
it's totally different. To your point about people just acting crazy or whatever and trying, us standing up and having boundaries, not letting them affect us. I don't think I've mentioned it in the SEALs training when I teach on mindset, but when I do seminars on identity, I'll say, I don't let people steal my joy.
Oh, I love that.
I don't let people steal my joy. It's not even an option. Like, you're going to act crazy, the fool. So like that hater, that comment, you respond, you whatever. Like, I'm not letting you, Miss So-and-so, steal my joy.
Right. I love
Or
that.
a bad, buyer or seller that's just having a bad day. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, and I think the older we get, like you were saying, right, as we get more mature, you just kind of learn, like, that's their junk. Like, that's what they're doing. Or you know what I mean? And also, as you start doing this long enough, you deal with enough people, you'll have people that are treating you like crap one day, right? Again, you don't let it bother you. It still stings, still kind of hurts a little bit, but then a day or two later, the humble ones will come back and go, hey, I just want to apologize. My wife and I had just gotten in a fight. My mom had just, like, it just, life happens, right? It doesn't make it right.
Right. You
but
have to perceive yourself in the way that you want others to. And then when they don't, you can't let that change your
Yes.
mindset of
Yes.
who you are. And that, I think that's one of the things you also
Yes.
said is just one of the questions you asked, and it was so hard, is how do you perceive yourself? I'm like,
Oh, it's huge. Because most people have never thought about that.
no, and but maybe they have, but they don't know how to put it like into words. And so yeah, it was just like the outside source, like
Yes.
kind of why do you see yourself that way, and like not letting just because of what happened in your past in your life affect the way you want to perceive yourself and the way you are going to go out and present yourself.
Of course.
So-
And especially as agents, right? Because it's not only are we an agent, we're not like a regular employee with a 9-to-5. Like, we're a business. We have to look at ourselves as a business, right? So it's like how you carry yourself is how you're carrying your business.
Right.
And most people don't even think about that. So that's why I said my teaching is a little bit different. I usually just ask questions to get people to think, right? Exactly. And that's why I love having you guys write it down. And I'm like, look, I'm not going to share this with anyone. I just want you. Because like you said, maybe people have thought about it, but they've never really written it down, or they don't even know how to verbalize it,
Right.
much less write it down. I've had people just go like, I don't know, I've never thought about that. The cool thing about that is even if they don't write it down in class, I've planted that seed. So
still
as
think about
that's
it.
what I'm saying. So as you're driving home, or like the other day, 2 days later, I love your video. You're like, I took a mindset class that John Peterson taught 2 days ago. I'm driving down the road, right? You had your phone going. You're like, I'm driving down the road thinking about it. I love that,
Because
man.
there was a thought that was trying to come in. I don't remember
I
what
love
it
it.
was. I was on the way to a showing.
But
really
hold on,
far
let me
away.
just pause you real there. I don't know if everyone caught this. You're like, I don't know what that thought was anymore.
No, it wasn't important.
Because you kicked it out. It was important at that moment when it was trying to get in, right, and mess with your head. But you had your bounce to be like, nah, you ain't on the list, bro. You ain't
Right.
getting in. So I love that you're like, I don't even know what it was,
Yeah.
because you didn't give into it.
Well, I was telling like on the video too, like I'm telling you like I've already naturally did this. I'm a very positive person. It's always like the glass is half full.
That's awesome.
Not half empty. And if there is an issue, like when we had new things come on that we had to implement as teachers, I had my moment just like everyone else.
Of
But then
course.
I'm, just say it once. My mentality is just say it once to that one person
Get it out.
that you trust, not
No, correct.
just that one person that you trust, and then just like, okay, let's do it. Like, let's just do the best we can and make it the best of it.
That's
and
cool.
so anyway, like, yeah, it's just proud.
I
I
love-
already did that,
I love
and I
where your
just
head's
didn't
at.
know that I can give it an
Yeah.
actual image.
Well, yeah, exactly. And that's because I am very visual and I see stuff, usually like a 5-second movie clip. That's what helped me. And like now that I have it on my presentation, like so many people comment going, oh my God, like, and of course I know what's coming. So I'm looking at your all's faces. So some of them are like, that's why I'll ask the question, who is this? Some people are like, security, it's a bouncer. I'm like, exactly. And they're like, oh, like it snaps, right? It's like, okay. But no, we're going to have you back on. We're already out of time. Like, this is I know, exactly. We've been going almost an hour.
Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. So in the last 30 seconds, what, again, whether they're from Monument or not, this is just helping agents, right? Of course, we'd love for you guys to come to Monument, but what in the next 30 seconds, what advice would you give, right, mentally, like the thoughts and all that kind of stuff or stuff that you're doing, what advice would you give to a new agent? take 30 seconds and just kind of talk to the camera.
I definitely suggest thinking outside of the box, thinking about things that other agents aren't doing, and knowing that you are good enough and you are going to do it. It will take time, a lot longer than you thought it would for most agents, and that is okay. And utilize the people around you that make friends. One of the most important things is to make friends. They are not your competitors. They are your colleagues. They are your supporters. And yeah, just get out there and don't give up, and it will pay off.
Awesome. I appreciate that. And so in closing, how can people get a hold of you? What's your contact information? Email, phone number, whatever, website, whatever you want to share.
So it's Ellie@monumentstar.com is my email. 972-900-9867 is my phone number. Or you can find me on my personal webpage, www.ellierealtygroup.com. I need to start using that more. Ellie, not Ellie's, just ELLIE, realtygroup.com.
And what's a new Facebook group that you're starting for your community?
I am going to start probably live within the next couple of days. It's called What's Up Westridge.
Awesome. Appreciate it. And so our last question that I ask all my guests that I talk to, if you could write a book, what would the title of your book be and why? Making you think. I like this.
It is because my past from being from Romania and being.
I know, that's why I said we got to have you get back on, because we didn't even get into that.
I feel like my life had a sudden turn so many times. So I guess something about the winding roads. I don't know, like something to do with the path, roadway to leading to like crossways.
Okay, like a crossroads or crossways?
Crossway, yeah, something like, because I feel like what I think my life is going to be like, it always suddenly turns and takes a different path. And it happens so frequently. At least 3 major life events that has happened only in my 38 years of life.
Right.
So something to do with that. I don't really have an actual thought, but yeah, it would definitely be something with change of life path, and it's okay.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So the ending is it's okay.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Jesus, take the wheel. It's okay. So look at Barnes & Noble's next year, 2023, Ellie's book. So thank you so much, man. I really appreciate this. We just wanted to do this to, again, just help agents, right, mindset and all that, but then also for you, just so people can get a different side of you and learn about Ellie. And like I said, that's why we're going to have you back, because I love your story about coming to the United States and 9 or 11? 11. So we definitely got to go into that story. But yeah, I think it's just fun because we'll share this on social media. We'll tag you and everything, but then we'll also give you the master so you can share it as well. Cool. I think it's just fun that people, right, as you're doing more stuff in your community, they can sit and watch this and know a lot. Oh, I didn't know that about her, right? And just hearing the way you think and the way you are and just how you run your business. I think something like this is going to be very powerful to help you with your branding and your business. Awesome. As opposed to, like you said, hey, you looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Call Ellie. You know what I mean? Like, that's what everyone does, and whatever, teach their own. But yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Any last words for the audience?
Call me.
Call her. Thanks, guys. We appreciate you. We'll see you around. Ice Cream Socials, Taco Tuesday. She does it all. Yeah. So thank you guys for joining us today. We'll see you next time.